Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nasty, this time with a Dauntless video, and this video is probably not going to be a very popular one, but I am here to just display my personal experience with trials in Dauntless. Right now, I don't do trials, or better yet, I can't do trials. First of all, let me state that I think trials open too early in the game. When they opened for me, I thought that I could just do them. But despite having 30 minutes to finish them, I just couldn't. It took me quite a while until my gear was good enough to be able to do it. I'm talking about trials at the lower level. I slowly built up my silver mark so I could buy the best cells for the hard trials, getting Berserk and Discipline, and doing them sometimes in a group and sometimes solo. When I could finally do hard trials, again, I found that the leap was bigger than I thought, and then I had to level up my gear again, and as I was getting gold marks, I decided to save them up until I got into the leaderboards so I could spend them all at once on that gold armor and the crown. But because I saw trials as an end game, I decided to take my time getting there because I really wanted to get there solo. Also, more and more content was dropping in Dauntless, like the Agoras escalation that takes 15 vine parts to build one single weapon, and it only drops one part per arm, so had to rerun lots and lots of escalation, which took me a lot of time. And I had more fun there than fighting the same behemoth over and over again. Frost escalation came after that, but I was fine with it until Reforge hit. Now after this update, the entire gear got reworked, and so did trials, and I never got to do hard trials again. I don't mean leaderboards, I mean just finishing trials. Most of this is related to my earlier video where I found combat in Dauntless incredibly inconsistent. Just rephrase, if you have not seen it, I'll put the link in the description. It goes a bit like this. When I press a button in Dauntless, one of three things happens. It happens something, it happens nothing, or it happens something but with a lag. The game has always been like this, but leveling your gear up made up for this little disadvantage, and so it made us overcome this issue. But trials is different. In trials they try to make it about skill, which I don't think works, at least not at the level they are thinking. Trials are just not Soulsborne. I have played Soulsborne, and here's the difference. Soulsborne have lock on camera, they have input queuing, something that Dauntless does not have. Now there are people who can finish trials just as there are people who can speedrun Soulsborne, sure. The thing is, if you look at leaderboards, and I wish I had proper data to do this, but I'm sure Phoenix Labs does, most players on PC use strikers and most players on console will use chain blades. And you know why? Well, both provide a little bit of cancel animation with their specials. Also, because there's no lock on camera, almost everyone uses a massive field of view just to see where their behemoth is at all times. PC players also have the option to use macros and other exploits, but I'll get around to that later on in the video. But the worst of all is, even with all of this, most people on PS4 cannot even finish the fight. It's not rare where I go to leaderboards and do not even find them full. And with teams, it's even worse. And most of these fights, or at least some of them, are not even under 3 minutes, or as we have now, 5 minutes. I've seen fights go for 8 minutes or 10 minutes, and those end up in the leaderboards, meaning that no one finished them above that. From the little data I could find, Dauntless seems to have at the moment 24,000 players, around 24,000 players on PS4. And it's a healthy sum, but only about 100 to 200, this is counting teams and solos as a total, actually finished the fight. Worst of all, if you do the math at solos only, the average player that finished this, which is around 60 and 70 slayers, is 0.3. Only 0.3% actually finished the fight. I don't mean enter leaderboards, I mean just finish the fight, because at the moment finishing the fight and leaderboards, it's pretty much the same thing, if not say that it's exactly the same thing, at least on PS4. I think this is why Phoenix Labs decided to change trials. Unfortunately, I don't think it will help much. They lowered the level from 700 to 650, but increased the BMOS health. They normalized gear, but now we'll have to reforge everything to get the upper hand. Just so you know, Reforge is actually useful for something in the game. In the meantime, this is a game that tells us that the recommended level for hard escalations is 18, and I'm completing them with a level 12, 15 weapon. This is a game that tells us that if you go into hunting grounds with 5 levels above your own, it's too hard, and I'm dropping behemoths left and right with sometimes 6, 7 levels above me. But if I go into hard trials with gear 646 or 640, the max is 650 now, I'm getting one shot at the first attack that the behemoth does. This doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's no wonder this leaves a lot of room for cheating. I'm not saying everyone is cheating, but no matter what you do need a level of luck to complete trials and an even higher level to get to leaderboards. There's no footage I see where luck did not play a role. Either the behemoth hit didn't register, or a handicap didn't hit, or crits were always happening. All these things play a role. And even top players confess to having to try some 300, sometimes more times to get those awesome times. I also see that many people on PC use the strikers, and it's easier to use strikers because it relies on 3 combos, and if you have macros for those, it helps a lot. So, this puzzles me. I don't understand what Phoenix Labs wants with trials. They could be endgame, but slayers that haven't even finished the rank of master, not that I think that the rank of master should really count for it, are finishing trials. Gear is negligible. I mean, there's no way you can customize and prevent all incoming damage and still be a DPS machine when you have to counter 2 elements, let alone 3. And you can't use the handicaps of the trial itself in your advantage. I mean, if you reflect attacks from those balls of electricity, they do not damage the behemoth. And how is anyone supposed to fight Scribe when the entire screen is absolutely white and you can't see it, and you can't even see where the pylons are? On top of everything, it heavily relies on your ping. Mine, last time I checked, was 98 Mbps for download and 9 Mbps for upload. No idea if this is adequate. I use it on other games like Warframe and Genshin, and it's fine, but here, probably not. It admits squads, but it's not really a group event, and if you try to find someone to help you with, most of the replies I get is just do a solo, it's easy, or the famous get good, an extremely helpful tip. Let me remind you and everyone that I could complete trials before the Reforge hit, okay? I would very much like to see the ratio between those who try trials, those who finish them, and those who enter leaderboards. Because on consoles there is a lot of issues. Right now it feels a lot like you're playing slot machines. You just go and repeat it over and over and over again, just hoping that everything somehow falls in your favor. For my part, I just want to get to the leaderboards to get the cosmetics and then never do them again. I mean, honestly, it's not about bragging rights. It's just about completing a mode that the game offers you. That's it. I've tried between 700 and 1,000 times the past 4 weeks. I tried all the builds, I watched all the videos, and I see no improvement at all. It actually got so bad that I just had to stop playing because I started to have insomnias for like 3 days straight, just trying to figure out what the hell was I doing wrong on that game. I've tried them solo, I've tried them in a party of 2 with another one that was also a master slayer. I had tried them with randoms of 4. All these scenarios plus the inconsistency of all the factors stated above has left me nothing but frustrated and worse, demoralized to even play Dauntless. Because this is the milestone I feel I will never ever reach. And I don't think that the changes that come with weapons, with weapons leaderboards, which was some of the suggestions that I actually supported, is going to improve any of it. Since some weapons are better than others against certain behemoths, and there will always be slayers that have like their designated spot on leaderboards. In my opinion, they seem too hard for the average player to get marks, and way too random to be enjoyable by the ones who try them out. And because I have no idea what this should be, or if the issue at least I have in consoles is somewhat related to my internet connection, maybe my hardware, I play on PS4 but there's PS4 Pro and PS5, or some other technical issue, I'm going to leave just a few suggestions that are not related to how the game works, but that could maybe improve the experience of trials. First of all, a recruitment chat in Dauntless would do a world of good. PlayStation 4 has now announced that it's ending communities, so it will get even harder to get slayers together to do trials. I know there's Discord, Reddit and all that, but that will require new logins, a new account, new profiles, etc, 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 and we all just want to play the game. So I not, like many other games have a proper chat to get help. Also, we all know it's hard to do trials with randoms, and this would allow us to organize a proper squad to do it, and better yet, they could be used to organize squads for other things like escalations and hunting grounds. Another thing I would like to suggest is quick retry. When playing solo, I don't like that every time I retry, I go back to the airship just to come back down again. A quick retry would jump 2 loading screens, so saving a lot of time, and make getting back into the fight that much easier. Here's another one, squad retry. This already exists if you're in a party. You can select retry, and the person who are with the party with you can also put retry. But I have no idea why this doesn't exist with random squads. If you find a good squad, which I have sometimes, but you fail, why not have the option to select retry and see who goes and who not? People might see others wanting to go, and they might be encouraged to also try again instead of just leaving and trying to regroup with a random squad again. Lastly, retry should pair up with a new squad. I don't know if this is a problem with matchmaking, if it's a technical issue, or just having too few people doing trials. But when I press retry on a mission and the squad leaves, I end up alone on the airship. It would be better if I was paired up with other players that are at the moment trying to get into the trial, instead of having to go back to Ramsgate just to matchmake all over again. That's it. These are just my suggestions. I apologize if this is a salty video, but I just had to vent. I'm just here representing the ones that see trials as this big black hole that defies the rules that Dauntless sets for every other game, every other mode that it has. If you're out there not empathizing or not sympathizing with my personal struggle and the struggle of so many, I believe, and if you're just going to be toxic about it in the comments, well, you can just mosey on out of here, please. I still play Dauntless. I still enjoy Dauntless at a certain level, and because Radiant Escalation is coming, and I like escalations, I will continue to play Dauntless for a while. But beware that many have already left because stuff like this is detrimental to their experience of the game. And I have seen trials being suspended or flat out removed from other games because of the detrimental treatment it dealt its players, and especially its player base. Just look at Destiny and look at Warframe. Destiny suspended trials after they realized that the bar was so high that players were paying real money to get over that threshold by asking for top players to help them and then paying for that. In Warframe, there was such a niche game mode and it created so many technical problems that they created a divide in the community, and it was doing more harm than good. So they just decided to remove it. There's talks about bringing them back, but they will not be coming back in the same mode that it was before. So, if you want to leave a comment, please do it respectfully. I want to hear from people like me who are struggling, and I especially want to hear from those who were struggling and then somehow they made it through. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you liked it, please like and subscribe, and as always, have a great game, guys.